And God, we do what we've been called upon, Father, as our constituents, Father, our tribal members have elected us to do, Father. So, Lord, help us, God, in this time, Father, as we are overseeing the business of the nation. And Father, I just pray for President Echohawk. I just ask God a blessing upon him, Father, his family, his household, God. And Lord, I just ask that, Father, you be with him, Father, as he oversees this meeting tonight. And again, thank you for all of our members, Father, in their homes, their respected homes as well. And Father, again, just leave this time in your hands. I ask that, God, your spirit guide us, Father. We'll leave this in your hands and ask your will be done, for it's in your Son, my Savior, Jesus Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Noah. Thank you, Vice President, for your prayer and your spiritual leadership. Appreciate that. And good evening to council members. This is our first council meeting in 2022. And I would like to go to our secretary, Mr. Gardepy, Mr. George Gardepy, and if you will call our roll, please, sir.
Yeah. Walter Echohawk.
Titaku.
Jordan Canuho.
Here.
George Gardepy here. Carol Chapman.
Here.
Cynthia Butler.
Here.
Donna Hare.
Titaku.
Gene Evans.
Here.
Sammy Kimball.
Here.
Thank you, Council. We have a all hands on deck. We do have a quorum. And I think our first item here is the approval of the agenda. And Mr. Secretary, I understand we have a couple changes to make. Sir, if you could illuminate that for us.
Yes, sir. Under new business, we're going to add a number 2, discussion and or action on 2022 COLA. And then we're going to add a Roman numeral 7 after that, executive session. And the topic will be discussion and or action on COVID needs. And then, set the next meeting date will change to 8 and adjournment at 9. And those are the changes.
Excellent. Folks, do we have any other changes to make to this agenda, please? Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve as amended?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Council. We have a motion and a second. Call for the vote, please.
Jordan Canuho.
Yes.
George Gardepy, yes. Carol Chapman.
Yes.
Cynthia Butler.
Yes.
Donna Hare.
Aho.
Gene Evans.
Yes.
Sammy Kimball.
Yes.
Thank you, Council. Motion carries. Next item is approval of minutes. And we have 2 minutes to approve this evening. The first being the minutes of the Pawnee Business Council special meeting, December 16, 2021. And those minutes are up on the screen. Are there any comments on it, please, folks?
I've reviewed these and everything looks good. And so I'll make a motion to approve these minutes.
I'll second.
Thank you for that. Okay. Thank you for the second, Treasurer Chapman. We do have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion, folks? Hearing none, call for the vote, please.
Jordan Canuho.
Yes.
George Gardepy, yes. Carol Chapman.
Yes.
Cynthia Butler.
Yes.
Donna Hare.
Abstain.
Gene Evans.
Yes.
Sammy Kimball.
Yes.
Thank you, Council. Motion carries. Next up are the minutes for December 22, 2021. And they are up on the screen. And May I ask if there are any comments on this set of minutes, please? Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve, please?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second. This is Sammy.
Thank you, Sammy. We have a motion and we have a second, folks. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, call for the vote, please.
Jordan Canuho,
Yes.
George Gardner, yes. Carol Chapman,
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare,
Oh, yes.
Gene Evans,
Yes.
Sam Kimball.
Yes.
Thank you, council. Motion carries. And this brings us to our open forum. And I would like to welcome our tribal members and any visitors that may be tuned in. And let me ask Jamie if anyone has signed up to address the council.
Yes.
Good afternoon, good evening, Arthur, and welcome to the meeting. And it's great to see you. And the floor is yours, sir.
Well, good evening, Council. Good evening, President. Thank you for welcoming me. I just have two questions for the Council, and I'll make them real brief. When the Council and the Chiefs Council, or the Chiefs, met last year, I got the impression that that was going to be a regular thing, and I don't think that they've been on with the council meeting recently, and I didn't know if that was going to be something that you guys take up in the new year. I just would like a little bit of info about that. And then with the current COVID situation, you know, as you guys well know, we lost 2 tribal member and employees last year this time, and it seems like maybe the tribe isn't doing as much as we were doing last year to try to protect ourselves, and it's not a surprise on what's going on out there in the world. And so I would just like to know what the council plans to do about this, and maybe explain to the tribal members how bad it really is.
Thank you for both of those questions, Arthur, and I'll take a stab at it, and then council, you can elaborate or correct me if I'm wrong. But I would like to have a joint meeting with our Nashero Council, and would ask Jamie if she could help me coordinate that, possibly. We have a number of matters to discuss with the Chiefs Council, and it's just good practice, I think, a healthy practice for our government to meet jointly. And we've only done it once last summer, and so I think the time is right to do it again. And so, unless someone on the council objects, I would propose that we try to schedule one, hopefully, possibly our next meeting or sometime soon. I do know that the Chiefs Council, George, is meeting Saturday, and maybe you could help Jamie and I arrange, lay the groundwork for having a joint meeting. And I'm game our next regularly scheduled meeting to see if we can't make it a joint meeting. Is council, do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, I just want to mention, I know a couple of the chiefs are sick right now. So I'm not sure if that meeting really will take place on Saturday. But I do know, I mean, I'm not opposed to having a joint meeting, but I think we need to keep it virtual, which could be a challenge for the Nishar. I mean, because every time they've met, it's always been in person.
Yeah.
So that's something we should consider as well. Yeah, and like Arthur was alluding to, yeah, that our community here in Pawnee is just being overrun right now. I mean, we knew at housing, we know there was one worker that tested positive today. Well, there's another one, so that's 2 workers. So we're taking that into consideration these next few days, what we should be doing. But I just know that there's a lot in our community that are really being hit with this. So I am glad that we set this meeting up to be virtual, to be safe on the safe side, which was a good thing. But if they do have a meeting Saturday, I'll mention that and see if they have any problems with meeting with us virtually. I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Yeah. Yes, I'd like to see the chiefs try to get the capability to meet on Teams. I think it's they got their own office now in Building 1, of course, and I think it would just be good unless they have some special reason to meet in person. We don't know how long this pandemic is going to last, but we'll explore that. Unless there's some objection, please register it now. But I think we ought to try to schedule something, I guess, when we're able. And so we'll put that on a front burner. And Vice President, I see your hand is up. I'll recognize you.
Yes, thank you, President. Yeah, I agree. I think that's definitely something we need to look at doing here in the near future. I do take the concern as well with the Secretary Gardapi is that, maybe doing it virtually. If not virtually, maybe wait till things kind of get back down to what it used to be, to where we can meet with them. Because I know many of them, they probably don't really use Teams very often or really like using Teams. I don't know. But either way, yeah, I would definitely be in favor of wanting to just have another joint meeting with them and just make that more of a kind of a regular thing, I guess. I mean, quarterly,
Yeah.
if that possible, maybe.
I think so.
Just however we both councils want to go about doing that. I think it just shows that there's a unity there between both councils and willing to work for the people. So yeah, I'm definitely in favor.
Excellent. Thank you. I see Sammy's hand is up, and I'll recognize you, Sammy.
Thank you, President. I just concur. I would, like to have this virtual with the chiefs. I think it's important, to have that communication. However, with the pandemic and as crazy as it is right now with this Omicron variant being so airborne, if you will, it really is creating a lot of problems. Also, it might, you can take this meeting with your phone. So maybe there's just a learning curve to do with the chiefs as well. Maybe we can work on something like that. So that's just a thought I had. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sammy. I agree with that as well. I see another hand up. I don't know who it is. Dr. Evans, floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, sir. Well, yeah, I like the idea of quarterly meetings with the Nishar Council. I personally think, we know in this area, January and February are prime flu, just illness times. We've got this new wave of this Omicron version of COVID here that's just super catchy. I mean, it's always been airborne, but this is just way easier to catch. And unfortunately, it got me this weekend also. And I'd like to think that I've been pretty careful, but I think I've been like most people, where you kind of get to this point. I've had my immunizations, I'm, it's been going forever, and you get this fatigue. And don't follow those same rules we've set that we know, wearing your mask, when you ought to, when you're around people indoors in groups and such. And I have been guilty of not doing that. And I think as many of us, I think I got to that spot of feeling like, I'm pretty invulnerable from this. And the good thing is this Omicron is not killing people like the earlier ones were. But having said that, from personal experience now, you could be pretty sick from it. And I'm going to have to miss a whole lot of work, and that's not good for anybody. So anyway, I think I don't know that we have to do a whole lot different on, just to skip over to this COVID thing, but as far as what we're doing, we just have to do what we're saying we're supposed to do. I think we all have to take that step back and take this seriously and do what we ought to do. And like I said, I have been guilty, and I'm getting to pay the price a little bit here. But I would hope for our elders and those who are at higher risk, man, it's a time to be careful, because you're the folks who are vulnerable. Anyways, thank you.
Thank you for those remarks, Dr. Evans. And I know Atias is going to be with you, and you'll be in our well wishes and prayers and good thoughts, for a speedy and full recovery, sir. And I thank you for your remarks. I see Councilwoman Hare, I see your hand up. The floor is yours.
Okay, I think Carol was first. Oh, I don't see hers now.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay, Carol?
It keeps falling down, you guys.
Okay. Carol, sorry.
I just wanted to say that I agree, and I think it would be really nice if we could meet quarterly with the chiefs. I just want to add that.
Thank you for that, and I agree. I like that idea. I think the institutionalizing it, and it's a unity thing, and it's a respect thing for our chiefs. They led our people from time immemorial down, and so it's a good thing. And I would certainly be in favor of a quarterly institutionalized regular meeting with them. And so we don't let a year go by since last summer, for sure. Well, thank you for that. Councilwoman Hare, I'll recognize you. No.
Okay, thank you, President Eckelhawk. So I wanted to comment on Arthur's question about COVID and about losing two of our tribal members and employees. And I've been thinking about them a lot and their families. And I miss them. I worked with them for years. And I don't think we're doing enough. I don't think we are doing enough to protect our community from COVID right now. And I was real disappointed we haven't had our Turk meetings when the rates are up. I thought that, I know it's holidays and everything, but yeah, we need to do more. And I just want to extend my condolences to those families and to all the families who are suffering right now with COVID.
Thank you for those remarks, Councilwoman Hare, and I agree with them as well. And I thank you, Arthur, too, for raising this. This is on the agenda tonight for our executive session. And I want Arthur, you to know, and the tribal members who are tuned in, that in my view, we are in another dark winter. This COVID variant is in the community. And Brian Kirk, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we do have 9 tribal employees who are down with the COVID at the present time. I know that one of the TDC Stonewolf casino employees tested positive on Christmas Day and passed away a couple days ago from it. And I have in my own family, I've got family members that are currently coping with positive results as well. So this is a dark winter, every bit as dangerous and scary as this time last winter. And I think we have a number of factors to thank here for this situation that we find ourselves in. The Christmas holidays, the fact that it's indoors, it's a winter time, it's and this new variant. It's a prescription for a perfect storm in terms of people getting sick. And so we've had some discussions about this situation. We have a Turk meeting scheduled for Monday. I've asked Brian Kirk to reach out and contact Dr. Evans and activate the medical advisory committee as well, hopefully to participate in the Turk meeting and to do some research and homework beforehand, because the council folks is in need of and looking for some ironclad sound advice on the public safety measures that we need to be instituting at this time to protect the nation and to protect the community. And so we are aware of this problem. It just seems like over the Christmas holiday, Christmas New Year holiday, that this pandemic really set in a major way into the community here. And so it's all over the country. It's not just in the Pawnee Nation community, but it's all over the country. I've gotten information that the Stillwater Medical Center is full up, and they're referring patients of all kinds to other hospitals at this time. And we all have to hunker down. The only saving grace, I think, is that we've got our vaccinations in the community. We've got our booster shots in the community. We know from experience that if you wear a mask, wash your hands frequently, avoid large gatherings, and get vaccinated if you haven't been vaccinated. There's a lot of people that are fully vaccinated, even with booster shots, that are ill from this highly infectious variant. But a lot of the people out there that are seriously ill and hospitalized are the unvaccinated. And so please get vaccinated if you haven't got vaccinated. But yes, it's back again with a vengeance. The council is aware of it. We're going to be talking it over in executive session. And we do have a Turk meeting scheduled for the 10th of January on Monday. Brian Kirk is leading a research effort right now with John James, looking at the situation. We're going to be reaching out to the Indian Health Service, Seneca Smith, to see what they're doing and what recommendations. We're going to have to hunker down with our public health safety measures. And we'll be taking some definitive action. We may be looking at maybe figuring out ways for some staff to work remotely, and whatever it takes to get our community as safe as we can to provide the leadership. I think we also need to reach out to the city of Pawnee to see what the new mayor is doing, Mayor Cottle. And Dr. Evans, hopefully you can illuminate us what the Pawnee Public Schools are doing at this time as well. Hopefully it's not business as usual in the public schools. A lot of schools are requiring students to come back from the holidays with a COVID test, students and staff. But in my view, this is not the time for our school system, our community, or our nation to carry on business as usual because we're in another dark winter at this time. And so I thank you for raising that question, Arthur, and please rest assured, and tribal members rest assured that are tuning in, that the council will be addressing this, assessing the situation, and taking whatever measures we need to take to safeguard the health of the community and our nation and our employees, and that is a top priority. So thank you for asking that question and making sure that we address it here in an open session here. So, folks, what have I missed out on any of the above? Okay. Any other questions, either from Arthur or Jamie, from anyone else that may be tuned in here on the open forum? I see Cynthia's hand is up while we're awaiting that. Cynthia, I'll recognize you.
I just wanted to make a comment, and I apologize. I don't want to be negative or anything, but why is there not a sense of urgency? 9 people, that's kind of, to me, excessive. Why is Turk not wanting to meet tomorrow or this week? I'm sorry, I was going to apply to the emails today, but I've been sick for the past couple of days and just haven't been able to look at the phone. But it just makes me, we did lose some tribal members and employees last year, or, during the time last year. And to me, I think that it needs to be an urgent matter. We need to take care of our people. And to me, they should have met today, emergency meeting, maybe even meeting the next couple of days. Because, do we need to go back to regular protocols that we had whenever we were going through COVID? I know there's a lot of questions and there's a lot of things, but why wait? Because everyone, it's going to spread even more, within the next couple of days. So I just wanted to make that comment. I'm not trying to be negative or anything, but it just it concerns me that we're not taking it, that it's not being taken as an urgent matter. That's my own opinion.
Well, thank you for that. I think that's definitely a good idea, and we could kick that around in executive session. But I want to be sure we have some research done before Turk meets, so that they have time to research, carefully assess the situation, and come prepared to give this council some sound advice and measures that we need to take, and not just waltz into a meeting unprepared without any recommendations. It's kind of a difficult. There's stages in the pandemic where it kind of bounces up and down, and it's kind of hard to gauge and measure whether our policies. I think one guiding star should be the Center for Disease Control guidelines. At minimum, we should be complying with that at all times. But sometimes it's kind of hard to gauge. But in this case, we are in the middle of a surge and in the middle of a dark winter, and we know we're going to have to be doing taking some conceivably drastic public safety measures, getting back down and buckling back down here. And so we can take this up and more in executive session, and if that means we need to schedule a Turk meeting before the 10th, I think that's like next Monday. If we need to do it sooner, then we can certainly do that. But that comment is well taken by all of us, I'm sure. Cynthia, thank you for that. Okay. Any other comments on the developing COVID crisis that we're in right now? And Jamie, are there any other tribal members that wanting to address the council at this time that you have with you? Okay. Well, I guess that concludes this portion of the agenda. And this takes us to the new business. And first item up is the review of the 2021 Pawnee Nation Housing Authority Annual Performance Report. And who is going to present on that, please?
Is there anybody from housing on here? I'm just kidding. I guess it'll be me. Basically, every year we have the council review our annual performance report. So how we're doing with what we do versus our goals. And so what's on Teams is what we submitted to HUD, and then they reviewed it, and they've actually already approved it. So they did look at our annual performance report and felt like we were, trying to sticking pretty close to our goals. And I know there's, we have it for review. It's crazy. We have it for review at our office right now. But with the recent spike, nobody's come by to review it, but it's there for the public if they want to look at everything that we've done this past year. And our fiscal year ends September 30th. So this is for October 2020 to September 30th, 2021. And basically it just outlines everything that we've done, where all the funds were allocated towards and for what purpose. But I feel like, even during this time of the pandemic, that we've gotten a lot done in our office, and we continue to try to make improvements. And we are looking at trying to expand our home base, how many homes we have in our inventory. So that's something that we're looking at, possibly going into land development. And I know that's something that we're trying to do a tripart meeting, PBC, housing, and property, I think. And so, that's what we're looking forward to in our future, because we would like to have more homes available also. But this is just part of everything on here is what we've spent money on. And like I said before, we have 2 workers now who are COVID positive. So that might hinder people coming into our office, because we're actually still closed, but people still do come by, and we let them in. I mean, we have, and we've gotten a little complacent as well. So we are really looking at trying to prevent any more spread from our office. So I know Linda, the executive director, is looking at possibly closing our office the rest of the week, and then everybody testing on Monday. Because some of us may be asymptomatic, we don't know. So, but anyway, so this is the annual performance report. Everything that we've done, we help privately owned homes. We help with the sports, the youth sports. That's part of our component to prevent drug and alcohol abuse. So I mean, it's all outlined in this. If you guys review it, that's all we need. We don't need action on it. We just want that to be presented to our council, so that you guys can know exactly what we're doing and what we have done. And I know we've got quite a few units that are vacant right now, but that we're working on. People have moved out for whatever reason, and it just gives us a chance to remodel those homes that we haven't, gotten to do that. It's hard to do that when somebody's living in these units. So the ones that have moved out recently are ones that needed some extra care, some TLC. So those are the homes that we're working on and trying to get those done as soon as possible. But this dang virus is hindering that effort as well. So, but we'll still be on it until we get them all done. But anyways, does anybody have any questions? Were you guys able to review this on Teams? I can answer anything possibly.
Council, questions or comments of George? My only thought is one of my goals for 2022 And I'm going to send a memo around, I think, to all council members, hopefully tomorrow if I'm able. But I want to ask each council person to give me your list of 3 or 4 priorities that you have that you want to get accomplished in 2022. And then we'll figure out how we can make that happen. But one of my things that I want to see happen is to finish up all of our strategic planning in the first half of this year. And that would also include a strategic master plan for the housing authority. And so I wanted to ask you, George, and maybe you could carry the message to the authority. It would be great if the housing authority could develop a strategic master plan for housing. What would in an ideal world housing for our nation look like in the future that we want to live in, and how are we going to get there to that level of housing? And if you guys could join the rest of the nation, we're trying to develop a land use plan, economic development plan, a strategic plan for the college, et cetera, IT plan, et cetera. We need to include housing in that. And so if you guys could put that on your plate, as a work item, that would be awesome. I'd really appreciate you all thinking about that.
Yeah, I can tell you it's already something that we have been discussing, our commissioners, our board of directors, and in our office here. We do need to come up with a strategic plan for that. And yeah, we need to have more homes available. So that's what.
And the reason that the other part of it, and this makes it a little bit time sensitive, is that in 2022 we have the opportunity to get funding and begin developing or constructing the infrastructure for the Pawnee Nation for this whole next generation. And so it would be nice to know what kind of housing, where would they be located, and what would be your infrastructure needs, So it's very timely to kind of put something together, and we could integrate that with the overall plan of the Pawnee Nation. So anyway, I just wanted to say that much.
Absolutely.
Folks, is there any other questions of Secretary Gardapi here on this?
President?
Yes. Yes, sir.
No, I just want to say good job with the annual report, and just keep up the good work. It sounds like there's some good goals coming up in this coming year, so I hope that Pawnee Nation is able to do everything we can to meet those goals. So good job.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And I see a councilwoman here. I'll recognize you.
Yes, also good job. I did have a question though on the helping the homeowners, helping buy a home. So did you have 1 or 2 people? I saw I think it was 10,000. Is it 10,000 per person, or is it?
Yeah, it was 10,000. I think we might have discussed it internally to make it 5,000 a person, but we don't get a lot of hits on that. Usually we just get like 1 a year or something like that. But they still have to qualify for their own funding, and sometimes that's where it stops. I mean, they have trouble getting funding, but it's there, and we use it.
It's a great program. Maybe if we got the word out a little bit more, might have a few more qualify. And
I did want to mention something in this year that's different, is that 10% of our grant is going to be, which is like $66,000, will be available for over-income homeowners to apply. I still haven't got the application done yet, but we will be making an announcement soon, and it will be, within, I don't know if just our jurisdiction, at least in Oklahoma, so that we can do site visits for anybody that's applied and gets approved. But that's something new that they used to do a long time ago, but we just reenacted it this year to try to help other folks who don't normally get assistance. So,
on that point, if I could just ask, just for clarification for myself, because I had received a request from a tribal member that lives out in the country and has a lot of substantial home repairs that are direly in need of. Would this kind of assistance be available for that situation? I don't know if that home
I would
is part
say
of the housing authority or not, but it's a tribal member.
and that's the only really caveat, is that we won't fund or help with funding if, say, a home is too dilapidated. I mean, to where our little bit won't really do much. I mean, because we gotta have a cap on it, and I'm not gonna say what the cap is, but because people will try to get that's not the cap, but internally we'll have a cap. But yeah, there's been homes that we wanted to help, and we've done site visits, and it was just going to be too much and not make enough impact, and possibly should just be condemned, the homes that we've seen, some of them. So that's why we want to have it more, at least in the state of Oklahoma, where we can go do a site visit and to make sure those funds will be put to good use. Because if you're trying to put a Band-Aid on something that should just be done, it's not very effective. So
yes, well, I'll contact you offline, and I want to put you in touch with this tribal member and see if we can go out and take a look at it, possibly, and see what could be done if there's anything available.
Yeah, that's no problem.
Okay. All right, folks. Is there any other questions or comments of Secretary Garpy? Well, sir, kind sir, I appreciate your report, and again, as Vice President and Councilwoman here said, excellent job. You guys are such a big asset to the community. I appreciate, and we're all grateful for the work that you're doing. We all got to have a roof over our heads. It's just as important. We all need undertakers at some point. We all need attorneys at some point, and we all need a roof over our heads. So the work that you do is just very, very important. So thank you for that report. Okay, with that, next item is discussion and/or action on 2022 COLA. And Secretary Chapman, are you going to present on that, I wonder?
Yes, I will.
Okay, thank you. The floor is yours.
Okay, this was discussed in the budget meeting today. And on the Social Security COLA, we have not, as a tribe, done a lot in that area since 2016 for our tribal employees. And Harrison got this chart together of what the cost would be if we did go ahead and approve increases. And the PBC and the other members that were present discussed this at length and really felt that we should go ahead and increase by a little more, up to 6%. And we did discuss where the money would come from in the budget. We will be able to do it. So there will be, it was voted in, and there will be a 6% increase for employees now. Yay.
I would just like to add that, well, let me recognize Councilwoman here. Donna, floor is yours.
Excellent. Excellent to hear. I am so glad to hear that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I mean, she just, that's exactly what I was going to say. But it's really important, I think, for our nation to not dig a hole and fall way, way behind the COLA. The federal government is pretty much a model. And so this is long overdue, and it's got the full support of the budget committee. It's what any responsible employer ought to do. It ought to be automatic for every employee each and every year, to keep pace. And it's an expression of gratitude for the service of our employees during this pandemic and other very trying times. Everybody's been working very, very hard. Our employees, in my view, they're the real heroes of this pandemic. We're working under very adversarial circumstances, difficult circumstances, and certainly this is the least that our nation could do to show the gratitude to our employees, you know. And so this is, we got the money to do it. And in my view, it's a no-brainer. And so those are my thoughts on this. Council, is there any question? I see Donna's hand is up again. I'll recognize you.
I just wanted to make a motion to approve the
Excellent.
action 2022. I know the budget committee's approved, but yeah, for approval at budget council level.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and we have a second. Any further discussion on this? Hearing none. Mr. Secretary, call for the vote, please.
Jordan Canuho,
Yes.
George Gardapi, yes. Carol Chapman,
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare,
Yes.
Gene Evans,
Yes.
Sammy Kimball.
Yes.
Thank you, Council. Motion carries unanimously. And I want to also thank Brian Kirk for bringing this idea forward, for Harrison for his work on this issue, and also for Carol for her leadership in the Budget Committee, to bringing it here with the approval of the Budget Committee. And thank each and every one of you for your vote here. And that's the way we'll do it. Thank you. Okay. Excellent. So now we want to go into executive session. And may I have a motion to do so at this time, please?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and we have a second. Go ahead and call for the vote, please, sir.
Jordan Canuho,
Yes.
George Gardapi, yes. Carol Chapman,
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare,
Yes.
Gene Evans,
Yes.
Sammy Kimball.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you, Council. If Jamie, if you could turn off the recording, and we'll make our way into executive session. And if you could do that at this time. Thank you, folks. We're done with our executive session. May I have a motion, please, to come back into open session, please?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and we have a second. Call for the vote, please, sir.
Jordan Canuho,
Yes.
George Gardner, yes. Carol Chapman.
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare,
I hope, yes.
Gene Evans,
Yes.
Sammy Kimball.
Yes.
Thank you, council. Motion carries, and we are back in open session. And I want the record to reflect that in the executive session, the council discussed the rapid rise in the COVID pandemic here. And I'm very grateful for each and every one of the council members, as well as our executive director, for all of the wonderful input that they had on this discussion. And I want to make an announcement that we have a number of immediate measures that the council intends to put into place, most of which will go into effect sometime tomorrow. And then these measures will be adjusted probably next week when our TURC committee meets to look at them and to help us continue to assess the efficacy of these immediate measures and any adjustments that might be needed. We have about 8 or 9 items that I'm going to try to summarize here for our group. And then if I get it wrong, why, I'm sure I will be corrected. So first of all, we currently have a mask mandate in place for our offices on the reserve, but we are going to be strictly enforcing the masking requirements of the Pawnee Nation and all Pawnee Nation buildings. Number 2, there will be temperature screenings and questions asked at the door to enter tribal buildings. Third, the offices will be closed. There will be no visitors for the foreseeable near future. 4, I believe we talked about mandatory testing for all staff sometime this week so that we can establish a baseline for testing. Number 5, there will be no rentals of tribal facilities to the public for the near term. Number 6, we are going to be instituting a employee staggered program whereby, with the help of our division directors, some staff will be able to work remotely at home on a rotating basis. Number 7 here is we're going to institute an administrative leave policy for Pawnee Nation staff who are infected or get sick from the COVID. That will be put in place not only for all staff, both vaccinated and unvaccinated will be granted administrative leave while they're home sick, recuperating. This program will be subject to our fiscal ability to do that. We're going to be looking into that immediately. Number 8, we're going to set aside some ARP monies, probably around $15,000 to assist tribal employees who are at home ill with their needs. Number 9, we will be updating the Pawnee Nation's COVID positive support program policy to broaden that policy to provide more home to households who are infected, and possibly getting a van or additional transportation for the COVID division to make deliveries to those households. These measures that I've just talked about will be going into effect immediately as soon as we can get that done, and then most of which hopefully tomorrow and shortly thereafter, but no later than before the end of this work week. And then, as I mentioned earlier, they will all be reviewed by the Turk committee on Monday for any adjustments that may be warranted at that time. And we hope that these measures that I've just announced will, well, they'll go on as long as need be, but we're hoping that that this surge in the pandemic will not be more than a couple of weeks, but we'll just have to see it on a day-by-day basis. And so that's President's effort to summarize the decisions of this council that were made in executive session. And I'll turn this over at this time to Mr. Brian Kirk, our executive director, and to the staff to elaborate on these this announcement and make any corrections or elaborations on what I've just said.
Thank you, President. No, you did a great job. You know, it's just one of those things where we want to be more proactive versus reactive. With the huge increase of positive cases that we're not only seeing here at the workplace, but as well as throughout the community. So we wanted to kind of readdress where we're at today and put some measures in place just for you know, this week or a few upcoming weeks, just so that we can get control and mitigate this this outbreak. We know that this new variant is more contagious, but you know, on the upside is not as deadly as the previous one when it first started out. So, but we wanted to make sure that, you know, we got some structure in place to help mitigate that that exposure. So, you know, we definitely want to you know, strictly enforce the masking, you know, as well as, you know, asking staff or any other visitors, if it's like deliveries and things like that, you know, of symptoms such as like cough, runny nose, fever, and so forth, that they stay away, stay home, and, you know, protect not only themselves, but, you know, family members and other individuals they may come in contact with, you know, and going back and reassessing this while giving us a few days to research a little bit more in depth, because the CDC guidelines have updated, but we want to make sure that we keep everybody in place so we can continue operation. Because at the end of the day, you know, we want to continue providing those services to our tribal members and all the clients that we serve. So we want to make sure that, you know, with this, we're keeping everybody safe, that, you know, if someone does have or falls ill and becomes positive, that we have some additional resources for tribal members and employees that might fall on hard times to be eligible to receive these services. So I think you hit it well, but that was just kind of going more in depth in that. But overall, you know, we'll reassess this on Monday. We'll definitely keep everybody updated as if any changes have been made Monday morning. And we'll continue letting everybody know, on employees as well as tribal members, of any changes later that day on the 10th.
Thank you very much for that, Mr. Kirk. And I want to thank Secretary Gardapi for putting this item on our agenda for tonight. And again, to thank each and every council person, each and every one contributed to these decisions that were announced. My question to the group at this time is, do we need to make a motion on updating the COVID positive support program policy at this time, or is this how do we intend to proceed on that? Is there something we need to do this evening on that to allow that to take place? Cynthia, you are our legal expert here on parliamentarian. Do we need a resolution to go forward on that, or a motion?
I would be comfortable with just a motion, because we're just taking off that one provision of the quarantine.
If is anyone able to articulate what the motion would be, or do we just say we want to have it amended in accordance with our discussion and leave it to Brian to put the wordage in, or how do you want to proceed, folks?
It'd be best to say what it is that we're amending now.
Can anyone do that?
I wouldn't want to do it blindly.
Well, I have the policy in front of me. So this one's called the Pawnee Nation COVID Positive Support Program Policy, where if a travel member who tests positive with COVID-19 virus are required to quarantine and unable to go to the grocery stores, the pharmacy, and so forth, what we're doing is requiring the entire household to quarantine, where if one individual that is tested positive is quarantined, but let's say that their children, husband or wife is negative and still able to go to work and things like that, or might not be able to quarantine, they're not kicked out and not eligible for the services. So this still allows them to be eligible to receive these services in this dire situation, to still encourage, if you are able to quarantine, but removing this so they can still receive these services during this time. So it's just removing quarantine from this policy where it's required.
Do you have any specific language that you could propose for us, Brian, that we could use for this motion? In other words, what words do we want to change or delete to effectuate the discussion that we had?
I would just add at that sentence where it says, so their household can stay safe at home and quarantine, but not require the entire household to quarantine. So that would leave them just adding that verbiage in there that just allows that positive person to stay quarantined, but anyone else that's negative.
Okay, do I hear a motion to that effect, folks?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Council. We have a motion from Secretary Gardapi. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Dr. Evans. Any further discussion on the motion, folks? Hearing none. Mr. Gardapi, call for the vote, please. Mr. Secretary.
Jordan Canuho?
Yes.
George Gardapi, yes. Carol Chapman?
Yes.
Cynthia Butler?
Yes.
Donna Hare?
Oh, yes.
Gene Evans?
Yes.
Sammy Kimball?
Yes.
Thank you, Council. Motion carries unanimously. And so this, and I thank you once again for your work on this issue during executive session. And I thank you for this motion that carries that into forward. And I would just say that we are in a dark winter. Folks need to double down, wash your hands frequently, mask up, avoid large gatherings, be vaccinated, and if not for yourself, then for the ones that you love and for your community. And we'll get through this. We'll get through this tough time right now. So other than that, I think we're ready to set our next meeting date. So folks, what is your pleasure? Do we have anything that's time sensitive later in the month that we need to plan around as far as our next meeting?
Well, we need a meeting relatively soon to either continue on or with our COVID things or go with whatever Turk, to be able to agree or, to, sorry, I'm not coming up with the words, but to keep our COVID stuff changing with what's going on.
I agree.
Yes, I think we do. I agree. Thank you, Sammy. And I'm hoping that we can also circle back to our ARP spending to identify any time-sensitive needs on our priority list that we kind of had put together that need to be we need to pursue as time-sensitive matters as well. So I would propose that. And I think that's going to be one issue for the budget committee on Monday. And so also the Turk meeting on Monday. So probably a council meeting anytime thereafter, as early as next week, because I think we do have some time sensitive art matters that we might want to try to pursue here before the end of the month. And so in order to get that done, it might warrant, say, a mid-month meeting, council meeting. I would just throw out a date, the 13th or the 14th, possibly, for your consideration.
It's just 13th. 13th would be good.
It's kind of scary that people are maybe we're spending so much time together that we're all thinking alike. It's kind of scary, but the 13th, how does that sound then?
That works for me.
What time of the day or night?
5:30 works.
5:30? 5:30 on the 13th, does that not work for anyone?
I might have a conflict with it. I don't know yet because I work Thursdays when school's in session. But yeah, I don't want to change the council meeting for my schedule.
I'm not available until 6 because I don't get out of classes until 5:15. But I can rush home by 6 o'clock. I can get home by 6 to join a meeting if we have it at 6.
Better for me too.
I'm good with 6.
6 o'clock then?
6 work.
Yep.
Yeah.
As an older gentleman, the later in the evening it gets, the more cranky I get, and the quicker I want to get this done. So
Just mute
6 o'clock it is. 6 o'clock the 13th. Then that'll be our next time. Does that work? Does that not work for anyone? Okay, that'll be it then. That's what we'll do. Okay, by golly, I think that brings us to the adjournment, and so much for this being a 1-hour meeting. I've been wrong before and wrong again. So may I have a motion to adjourn, please?
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
I'll second.
Oh, you got my head spinning.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Okay. Okay, we got a motion and we got a second. All right, Mr. Secretary, call for the vote, please, sir.
Jordan Canuho,
Yes.
George Gardner, yes. Carol Chapman,
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare,
Oh, yes.
Gene Evans,
Yes.
Tammy Kimball.
Yes.
And what time is it, President?
Time is 8:09 p.m. and we are dismissed. Good evening and have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you
night.
so much,
Thank-
everyone.
Stay safe, Pawnee Nation.
Yep.